I thought I'd never be able to get over my grief, but after years of research and practice, I learned to live again. You've just experienced a great loss, and a task as simple as waking up and getting out of bed can feel like you're holding up the weight of the world. Life seems different, emptier in some way that you can't quite explain and can't seem to wrap your head around. What if there were a way to completely transform your perspective and put your mind into a place where it could experience joy again? Grief can take away the control that you once had in your life before your inconceivable loss. I know. I've been there, and I've had to navigate my own way through the dark shadows of loss and sorrow. Making sense of what's going on around you, it's nearly impossible during this time, which is why you need someone to guide you back into believing in the wonders of life again. You see, it really is possible to feel joy and happiness every single day again, and without the guilt of your loss tugging at your heartstrings. This is a completely different approach to overcoming your grief, and this is also your greatest opportunity to reclaim your right to happiness. The bottom line is, this is the defining moment when you take charge of your life and let the healing begin. I want to ask you something. Do you feel like you're just going through the motions? Are you sad and often find yourself faking cordial smiles to other people throughout the day? Be honest with yourself. Grief is holding you down in life and preventing you from being part of the world. It's time to do something about it. You know that you need help, and getting better is past the point of happening on its own. Be honest with yourself. You feel stuck. I get it. I've been there. There is a way out. Transform Grief is not just a series of videos or an ebook that discusses grief. It is a realistic approach to dealing with the fundamentals of grief with care, empathy, and step-by-step proven exercises. The actionable information you're about to receive will cause a seismic shift within your approach to tomorrow. But why should you believe me? I mean, what do I have to offer? Am I a world-renowned expert on grief that's been featured on Oprah? No. I'm a grief survivor. My name is Jason Ellis, and I'm a former grief sufferer and life coach who's been working with distressed grief sufferers for the last 5 years. My journey to this profession didn't come from a calling. It came from experiencing a deeply disturbing event in my life. And my story, it almost destroyed my family. It all started on a cold winter eve with a phone call my father had made to our closest family friend of the last 35 years. He was like an uncle to me, and like a brother to my father. Although we knew he suffered from depression, we had no idea how deep-rooted the problem truly was. Instead of my father's call being answered by his lifetime friend, it was instead answered by a stranger who worked in the same office building. And before my father's confusion could fully sink in, he was informed of his beloved friend's suicide. The shock of being told that his friend had leapt to his death from the top of his company's industrial building was incomprehensible. The news was numbing, and the pain, it was unbearable. The sadness and grief that overcame our family left us completely detached from the outside world. And what's almost as painful as the loss of a loved one itself is the perceived callousness of the world around you. I mean, how can people continue to laugh and go to work? How do birds keep chirping and life seemingly doesn't skip a beat? Is there any respect for the fact that what we lived for is gone? That cruel reality was thrown in the face of my entire family overnight. And this new world, it didn't seem like one we could connect with anymore. And we began to isolate ourselves bitterly. The funeral of our friend came and went, and it could have just as well been one of us in that grave, because nobody was talking, nobody was communicating. Our grip on life and our existence as a family unit was in peril. I felt